Welcome back. Very few people understand or realize what it is that we're doing here in the park. So I'm taking this opportunity, hopefully try to explain. First of all, these cats have nothing to do with me and everything to do with me at the same time. Meaning, none of these cats are my cats. All these cats are native to other places than this park, but from areas around this periphery of this park, which, by the way, over here is the park, which is this tiny little strip of AstroTurf, which is a buffer zone between buildings here in different neighborhoods. Around the park, this area is basically wasteland, which we're trying to improve a little bit, because when it's completely neglected, it's very dangerous with the stuff that goes on here between the garbage, the activities, and the leftover, which is dangerous and toxic. So we started off for one simple reason, is we were inundated by cats in the unit that we're renting not far from here, to the point where it was impossible to enjoy the space. We tried many solutions, cruelty-free solutions. Not that cruelty wasn't an option, but it wasn't a viable option, because besides the fact that if one need not be cruel, why be cruel? Do no harm should be the basic, any ethos that a caring, sentient, empathetic being should have. But also it wasn't more effective, because the cats can be a problem like any other unwanted guests, that they'll just keep on coming. They start off with 1 or 2 cats, grew into 50 plus, to prove that it's a pandemic. The pandemic being, there are more mouths to feed in the world than there is food provided. The irony is that if that were the case, that there was not enough food in the world, then we could say that something went wrong in creation, in evolution, in society, in whatever you want to call how urban met wild and wild met urban. But we would have to be pointing the blame to others, and that deflection, that scapegoat mentality, is not productive. So more for self-preservation and to be efficient and effective, we thought maybe if we try moving these cats elsewhere. How? By providing what they want elsewhere, which is not far away. Bring a little bit of food. Let's see if a little bit of food, which would be cheaper and definitely less cruel, meaning not cruel at all, guilt-free, maybe that would solve the problem. And it did. But not only did it solve that one problem of the cats bothering us where we live, or we're trying to live, but also developed a whole other win-win situation that grew into a win-win-win-win-win-win-win that counts more than 50 plus cats, at least 50 plus people, and a whole lot of people around the world that are following by example. Or we're following them by example too. We didn't invent anything here. We're just teaching practices that should be logical and should be obvious to most people. Biblically, as we are now entering the weekly Torah portion of Mishpatim, which means sentences, on a preventative method, that is proper communication, education, teaching, which is what last week's portion was about, Yitro, Jethro, and the 10 Commandments. But in an allopathic, a Western, a more American method, it is preventative, it is curative, which is sentences meaning the judgment after, the punishment after a judgment. So sentence in English has multiple meanings, and so does it in Hebrew, Mishpatim, in the sense of the weekly portion. More than that, you'll have to ask, because it should be self-evident. If it isn't, well, that's what I'm here for, is to answer questions. Don't want to make this longer than necessary. This is a wrap-up. If you'd like to see what came before, what it's like in the frenzy, which is no longer a frenzy, please look at our other videos or ask. And you're welcome to follow on a daily basis. This cat is a prime example of what represents the history of the Jews. As we say, in every generation, one of the first things that most children learn, if you're born into a Jewish tradition, is every generation they come to destroy you. It's not a wonderful way to grow up knowing that, having that survivor's guilt, the Patty Hearst syndrome, Stockholm syndrome, another kind of dementia that forms us to be thriving in a society where there's so much, we suffer from the diseases of affluence. Again, I don't want to talk more because I didn't mean to get all political with this discussion too, but here this little cat, this little kitten with one eye, it was sick when we found it, and just through love and care, we don't have or do much more, but through love and care it's thriving and surviving. Same thing with this cat, has an amputated tail. Besides the fact that they're extremely friendly to me, and they see me as their protector or guardian, this cat with an amputated tail, which you can't see because it's sitting on it, couldn't function with a broken tail. We called the city vet. They came and took the cat, amputated its tail. It has half of a tail left. Now it's thriving and surviving and thriving. That's the story of all these cats. It's also the story of, quote unquote, the Jewish people. But the Jewish people is just one fraction of the tribes of Israel. In order to bring the redemption, where we don't have to keep saying in every generation they're coming to destroy us, the cautionary tale of the Exodus, it should lead to the happy days of freedom in our land. The problem is we're still trying to define who's a Jew, as opposed to who belongs in the land of Israel, where are the other tribes. I don't want to get into that politics now. I do every single day almost. But I did want to show the beauty of how that same one plate in front of us has been feeding multiple cats because of the abundance mentality. That cat is not the same as the other orange cat. The other orange cat has a bent left paw, front left paw. This cat seems to be otherwise very healthy and well. And the same plate is feeding them all. Hello, little baby. Hello. We call this kitten Dingo or Dingola. It's a code name that only our inner circle understand. But he wants attention, and for that reason I have to sign off to give this poor little kitten attention. Infinite love and gratitude, wishing everyone peace and love. Starting with forgiveness, compassion, hope, and trust. We can hopefully get to peace, and when we have peace, then we can share what we have with infinite love and gratitude, because there is so much around that unfortunately we're killing ourselves and killing each other just to protect what we have, not giving ourselves a chance to enjoy it. What a shame.